Dear friends, welcome to another episode in the fantastic world of the military. In this video, we will discuss the approval by the United States Congress of the $61 billion military aid package for Ukraine and how this may affect the Russian invasion. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, do so now and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any updates. Last Saturday, April 20th, the long-awaited and delayed military aid of $60.7 billion for Ukraine was finally approved in a vote in the United States Congress, with 301 votes in favor and 112 against. On the Democratic side, all 210 Congress members voted in favor, while on the Republican side, there were 101 votes in favor and 112 against. As the United States Congress is Republican majority, this division in the Republican caucus, encouraged by their Speaker Mike Johnson, ensured the approval of the aid package for Ukraine. The approval of this multi-billion-dollar aid was expected to occur in October 2023. At that time, right after the confirmation of the failure of the Ukrainian offensive launched in June, this aid from the United States was crucial to prevent Russia from taking advantage of the weakening of the Ukrainian forces, completely exhausted after 4 months of a grueling and tremendously costly offensive, both in terms of equipment and human lives. However, the constant delays in voting led to the rapid depletion of Ukrainian stocks of weapons and ammunition, with the Russians obviously taking advantage of this and achieving some victories, notably the capture of the city of Avdiivka at the gates of the city of Donetsk. Without the usual flow of weapons and ammunition from the United States, Ukraine was forced to conserve its precious resources, something very dangerous given the improving weather, which begins to allow increasingly bold maneuvers of vehicles and heavy armored units, paving the way for the anticipated Russian spring and summer offensive. Regarding the aid package for Ukraine, what exactly does it consist of, and how might this affect the Russian invasion? Of the $60.7 billion, $37 billion will go directly to the factories of the defense industrial base of the United States, of which $23 billion will be for replenishing the stocks of the U.S. Armed Forces and $14 billion for the USAI, Ukraine Security Assistance Initiative, a program that allows the Pentagon to order American factories to produce weapons to be sent to Ukraine. $11 billion of the package will be allocated to the military operations of the United States in the region, mainly intelligence operations, which includes the use of drones and planes with large antennas and radars that are constantly monitoring the battlefield, tracking every Russian movement, valuable information that is directly passed on to Ukraine. $8 billion correspond to non-military aid intended to help the Ukrainian government continue functioning, with the remainder, about $4.7 billion, designated for the logistical effort to send these equipments and also to cover expenses related to the training of Ukrainian soldiers and technicians. More practically, how will all this money affect the Russian invasion of Ukraine? According to the Pentagon, a large part of these resources will be directed towards the supply of weapons classified as advanced. This means that they will likely be used to provide systems such as HIMARS launchers, precision rockets and missiles like the ATACMS used in the HIMARS launcher, and also the vitally important air defenses, with emphasis on the Patriots, the only ones in the West capable of intercepting ballistic missiles and Russian planes and bombers at long distances. A portion of the resources will also be invested in the defense industrial base of the United States to expand assembly lines, which includes ammunition factories, primarily artillery. According to the Pentagon, the United States today produces 3 times more munitions than it did before the start of the invasion of Ukraine, with a forecast that, over the next 2 years, production will increase by up to 7 times, an increase that is also occurring in Europe, mainly in German factories of high metal. This means that the package will also positively affect the shipment of artillery munitions, mainly 155 millimeters. An increase in the effort for drone production and development is also anticipated, a weapon that is proving to be decisive on the Ukrainian battlefield. With the arrival of these weapons, the first visible impact will be the increase in the intensity of the fighting on the front lines, with the Ukrainians now having the necessary means to try to hold back the Russian advance in some sectors. However, it is important to note that, despite the monetary magnitude of the aid which will translate into many advanced defense systems, it will probably not be enough to give Ukraine the means necessary for a new major offensive now in 2024. In other words, all the massive military aid that Ukraine will receive will basically serve to stabilize the front line, increasing the pace and extent of Russian casualties and thus trying to thwart Russian plans for a new major offensive during the dry European weather. In offensive terms, it is believed that the maximum that this aid will provide will be the means for more localist actions, targeting very specific sectors of the front line, but without major objectives or aspirations, as happened during the failed offensive of June 2023. This is a situation that, as everyone can well imagine, deeply annoys and irritates Vladimir Putin. He, as previously mentioned, is moving forward with the final preparations for a major offensive in the spring and summer of Europe. If this American aid had not been approved, Putin would have had a great chance to advance freely through large areas of Ukraine, with many anticipating significant territorial gains in regions such as Kharkiv, Kherson, and Odessa. However, now, with the aids approved, Putin may feel tempted to launch his offensive earlier than initially planned. According to the Pentagon, as soon as the Senate approves the law and President Biden signs it, expected to happen next Tuesday, April 23rd, the weapons and ammunition will immediately begin to be sent to Ukraine. But it is a lengthy and laborious process, which means that these weapons will only be effectively in Ukrainian hands within, at a minimum, 3 or 4 weeks. Putin, knowing this, may feel motivated to advance as soon as possible, just to try to take advantage of the fact that Ukrainian stocks are still low. If this happens, we may be about to witness the beginning of a new Russian offensive in the coming days. And if you are not yet subscribed to the channel, subscribe and activate the notification bell to not miss any news, criticisms, ideas, or suggestions. You can leave them in the comments.
On this vote, the yeas are 311 and the nays are 112. The bill is passed. Oh, one voting present. I missed it, but thank you. Okay. The House will be in order.